Hey guys, how's it going? This is Dave Warner, Creative Director of Atmosphir, and we're continuing our second week of doing another Atmosphir audio podcast called the Atmosphir Forecast. And here we'll just be talking about, the newest stuff coming up to Atmosphir, what we've been working on, as well as taking some of your questions from Twitter and Facebook and all that fun stuff. Today we're going to talk about a lot of different things. We're going to be doing update 15-1, which came out very, very late on Friday night. And we'll be talking about some of the things that came out there and some of your reactions in the community forums. We'll be talking about just a few housekeeping rules and some things to look forward to in the next couple of weeks. And I'll be finishing off then with a little Q&A session based on your questions. So let's get us started off right away with talking about update 15-1. So this came out really late on Friday night. The guys were working around the clock trying to get this out on time. We have sort of internally said that we don't like doing Friday updates. In fact, we try to avoid them as much as possible because if you've been a part of Atmosphir for a while, you know that in the past we've come up with updates and something is broken for the entire weekend. So it's always a risk to do that sort of thing. I'd rather always wait till Monday or Tuesday to do that. But there were a lot of critical things that we wanted to get out there and get people's reactions on. And we had tested it. Our QA department had tested things to the point where we felt pretty safe about letting it out. So it looks like things went off without too much of a hitch, and the update came out, and there were a lot of differences that were noted all in the forums. If you look, there's a thread called, official update about 15-1, and you'll see it all there. The most obvious one, of course, is the new logo that's throughout the site. We recently updated our logo to this sort of Gears-looking logo that has a little arrow that doubles as a box in the middle of it. And it was really nice to see the sort of general praise from the community when this logo was released. I know there was so much love for that first logo that we had, and we changed it to the second version, and that was very, very mixed in terms of what people thought about it. And I think this third one really is, for the most part, I'd say 90% of people really, really liked it. And, there were a few suggestions. Oh, can we combine it like this and do that? That's not going to happen. Of course, we appreciate your feedback as always and, all that stuff. But, there was a lot of thought and decision-making process that went into this beforehand as well. That's sort of behind the scenes that you guys didn't get to see. Although if you look on the forums, you'll see all the sort of the sketches and ideas of this latest version of the logo, and I think that's always fun. As a designer, I love seeing sort of the behind the scenes, things, sort of the things that didn't make the final cut. I always think that's almost just as interesting, if not more interesting, than the final product sometimes. But so you can see there in the forums, you'll see all these sort of black and white sketches that I was fooling around with, different ideas. And, the whole idea when if any of you are designers or illustrators out there, that you just want to throw as many ideas out there as possible. There's some bad ideas and some good ideas out there, and, it could go in all sorts of different directions. But at the end of the day, Atmosphir, it's not just me making the decisions. There's several people who look at everything and decide, yeah, this works or this doesn't work. And so we looked at it all and put it out there. But anyway, I'm really glad that the general consensus was that people like this logo and that it's here to stay. So, hopefully we can make some T-shirts soon and stickers and things like that to get out there for people, because that's always fun. So another big thing, of course, was a lot of updates and changes to the character creator, and you'll notice that there were some different. You can have a cart now and take things in and out of your cart. I think that's a lot more helpful. It sort of was a little bit in the air and mysterious. You weren't really sure how to add things or take things out of your cart. It was kind of a more difficult process, and I think the team did a really good job of designing the little cart icons and putting them in there. It's a lot more intuitive. My feeling is that it's a lot more intuitive the way that they've done it now. You also have the ability to buy Stratos in the store now, which is great. I mean, that's an option. And as I said last week, it's not going to be inexpensive. And some of you obviously didn't believe me, but that's the way it is. And the way we see it is, right now a Stratos is 1,400 Atmos, so that relates to $14, right? And the way we see it is, and a lot of people were saying, oh, that's too expensive, that's way too much, like make it lower. But it's expensive for a reason. It's if you don't want to take the time to level up your character and earn Stratos like everyone else, then this is an option to have you do that. And if you have $14 to do it, then go for it. But for the most part, we really want to encourage people playing and earning those Stratos on their own and going that way. But I think the case we're going for here is if people have some leftover Atmos that they want to spend on things, and they feel like if they just are missing one more Strato to level up an ability or something like that. Maybe they're a club member and they keep on accumulating Atmos for a while, and they really don't want to spend it on items, or they've already got everything they want or something like that for the time being. Then this is an option for them. I would say that 90%, 95% of Atmosphere players are probably not going to use that and will earn Stratos the usual way. But again, it's there as an option for people, and we might have sales and discounts and things in the future as well around that, so you can always keep your eyes open for that. We also added XP boosters. This was something that a lot of people had asked for in the past, and I think it's a great new addition to the game. It allows you to, for a specific period of time, for either 24 hours or 48 hours, being able to double the amount of XP you earn. And when this is coupled with a club membership, which already gives you 5 times the experience, well, you can do the math. It really helps you gain experience pretty quickly. And so, this is just another option for people to have out there, and same for them to spend their Atmos on. But also, it's an alternative. There's basically so many different ways to level up now, right? And club is still certainly the best value going. But if you want to just buy Atmos and instead of a club membership, and just buy just go for the XP boosters instead to level up your character, then that's fine. You've got that as an option. It's pretty cool, and we might be adding, depending on the popularity of these, we might be adding or modifying them in the future to add more options like this for people to have these sort of things. Maybe a month-long one, or something that gives you a bigger multiplier or something like that, if people would be interested in that sort of thing. But for an initial test, I saw people using them this weekend, and I saw people's levels have significantly increased. So it looks like they were well used, which is great to see. And then, one of the bigger things that came out was the ability to, the decision that we made internally to turn off the XP abilities penalty. And I did a long post about this in the forums, and if you still have questions about it, I'd say read that. It's pretty long. I reached my word count limit inside the forums, so it was kind of difficult. I had to split it into 2 different posts, so it's pretty long. It might take half an hour to read or something. But in general, I was really pleased at the responses. I thought it was a really civil discussion, and everyone on both sides of the argument had some really great points, and it was interesting to hear all those and read everything that people had put forth. I think there were a lot of great points that people said. Well, let me just give an overview of this really quickly for those of you who aren't familiar with what I'm talking about. Basically, in update 15, the update before this, we came out with the new abilities in XP, and as you level up, you get these new superpower abilities. And what we did was we gave designers the options to say if an ability was able to count towards XP or not in their level, if that level was marked as an experience level. And if you used an ability where the designer had turned it off, then you would only earn 50% of the experience for being in that level. And when we thought about this more this past week and listening to a lot of your guys' opinions out there as well, we realized that this just didn't make a lot of sense. It's like we're rewarding you for playing the game and beating levels and leveling up your character, but then at a certain point, then you're penalized for actually using the things that you've won, and it just isn't a very rewarding experience for the players. And so we sort of went back to the drawing board and said, okay, there's have to be alternative ways for us to deal with this sort of thing. And in addition, we looked at what people were doing, and people who were complaining weren't really citing specific examples of why, abilities were breaking their levels, right? They were saying, oh, this healing thing messes things up here, or, this berserker makes my damage go down so I can get past the spike part. But for the most part, there really weren't concrete examples of these abilities really, really breaking levels. And, I think for again, 95% of cases, they just don't really have a big effect. Sure, you can heal your character or use a wind gust to blow something off the edge of the level, but it's such there's such minor enhancements or minor differences to levels that it's not really worth getting too upset over. But that's the way that we felt about it in practice. And I looked back at my own levels and the ways that you could potentially get through those using these type of abilities. And I didn't really see anything personally that I was too upset over. And we still are giving designers the options for the leaderboards as well. There's the ability to keep, of course, that fair. That's a numerical value, and we want to make sure that that's sort of something that they have control over. And we might change things in the future with that. I even mentioned, the possibility of having 2 leaderboards, one for people who use abilities and one for people who don't, or give that as an option to the designer. We'll see how it goes. But there were a lot of great ideas that were thrown out there within the community forums. People talking about that abilities are okay, but we need more ways to block off people from cheating around a level. The 2D barrier force field is kind of easily broken right now, so we need kill areas or kill blocks, that sort of thing was brought up. I completely agree with that. I think that's a great idea, and we're going to try to push that forward. I know that ticket is in our system right now. I know the guys have tons of priorities, and I don't know where that falls within our priorities right now, but I know that's been there at least for the past 4, 5, 6 months. So we're hoping to get to that, some sort of kill block or kill area to some point. But a lot of designers were, sort of voicing their opinions as well and saying, I would like to have this sort of control. Can we have ability triggers, or can we have some sort of option, even a paid option, to be able to do this? And we're trying to think about it internally and figure it out. And we welcomed all your feedback that you put in this weekend. We're continuing to think about it and see how things go. But I think for most of the community, what the solution we have right now is something that works pretty well, and people are pretty happy about. And it's sort of keeps the balance of designers and players in order, which is something, of course, with Atmosphere we always want to do. That's a blessing and a curse with Atmosphere. A lot of times we have we are not like other games that it's only play only, and they have the luxury of being able to set rules and set ideas that only affect the players. But in our mind, our Atmosphere is such a different product in that we also have to worry about the designers and what they feel like. And a lot of the old ways of doing things for games don't always apply directly to the way that we like to do things in Atmosphere. So it's always a struggle. We're sort of covering a lot of new ground here as we move along. And we, of course, look at a lot of other UGC games out there and see how they're dealing with these sort of things, and are trying to put our best foot forward and make the smartest decisions that we can that influence the most amount of people to be happy. But we can't always do that, unfortunately, but we are trying our best, I guarantee you that. So I think that's a pretty good overview of update 15.1. That's been about 10 minutes talking about that. So excuse me, let's move on to talk about a few other things, a few housekeeping things. This week, I think, if I have time to put it together, we're going to do another Make Your Own contest. And we've done a couple of these so far. We have the Make Your Own texture contest, which had a ton of entries. And we already added those blocks into the game under the UGC category in Atmosphere. If you go to design mode, you'll see those 4 blocks that we added into the game. And then we have the Make Your Own cursed weapon contest, which was a huge success, even more than the texture contest, and that was great to see. And the art team is totally swamped right now with work, but I have personally talked to Rodrigo about stuff, and he is I sent him all the emails of all the weapons that people have sent in, and they'll be getting to that hopefully in the near future, but no exact timing or date on that yet. I think that was a question on last week's episode anyway, so anyway, so hopefully a new one of those is coming later this week, and I think it'll be another along the lines of the cursed weapon contest, where you don't exactly have to have the skills to make a texture, a photorealistic or game quality texture. I'm going to be more along the lines of the cursed weapon. Well, you'll be able to describe something or draw something out, and it'll be more about the idea and the concept than your actual artistic skills. So I think that's something that will seem to attract a lot of people to this last contest, and we'll try to do the same with this next one. So anyway, be on the lookout for that. If not this week, then probably next week sometime, but I'm hoping to get it out by this week. And then, of course, I've been testing the desktop version a lot. It's looking very good. A lot of changes being made along the way. The launcher, for example, wasn't working for me today, so there's still a lot of bugs and things that we have to fix in all different scenarios. We've got all sorts of computers set up with all sorts of different operating systems, Windows, Mac, and all the different browsers, and seeing how they're working. So we're trying our best with all that. But I've actually been designing a little bit because I am partnering up with a designer. You may have heard of him, Damon, Daimon. He's made some of the most prolific levels in Atmosphir so far, and he was nice enough to invite me to team up with him on a level. I believe this is the first team level that I've done so far. I don't remember. It's pretty exciting, and I think it'll be a pretty cool little adventure that we're putting together. A lot of focus has been put on the camera system. All the camera angles are custom done, so it'll be a pretty cool thing. And there's achievements, and it's kind of a cool story, and it's kind of a darker theme. In fact, I think he put a YouTube video of it a while back. I think he intended this to be a Halloween level before, but then we didn't do a Halloween design contest, so we had to put it off. But so I've been working on that a little bit, and it's coming along slowly. We both have busy schedules, but we're trying to put it together. So anyway, look forward to that. That'll probably be the next level that I upload, or that Damon uploads, but that I have some say in or hand in. So that's what I've been doing that. And other than that, just playing a lot of your guys' levels that you've put out there. Again, so many really good levels. I'm trying to remember specifics. Let me go actually to atmosphere.com and see if I can look at any that I played recently that I thought were really cool. Oh yeah, Silent Hill by Bartman. That's the #1 level right now, up there on most popular levels. And I thought that was really, really cool. I love all the parkour type stuff, jumping around the buildings. And I played in the desktop version, so I didn't get as much lag as some other people I'm sure got with the browser version. But it was really cool, and it was actually pretty scary with the darkness, and sort of anytime you fall into all the monsters that with one hit kills. So it's kind of a scary thing. But I love that sort of architecture that he made in the level, and I think that's something that we see more and more with Atmosphir levels. Is the level design is just as impressive as the actual gameplay. So kudos to you, Bartman64. Very cool level. And I don't remember if I announced this or this was part of the podcast last week, but I played a lot of the mini, or no, not the mini ones. What was the last design challenge? The Maze 10 design challenge, and those were some really cool levels. A lot of really innovative ideas, and people that took the basic idea of a maze and really pushed it forward into uncharted territory. Like Hello's level was really, really cool, with all the sort of elevation, going up and down. And I still haven't beaten that one. That one's almost impossible, but it was fun. While I played it, it was good, and I got lost, and it was kind of a novel approach to the whole maze concept. And a lot of you guys had that with gravity and sort of different mazes that weren't just flat. I really liked that, and I think that those were the ones that stood out the most to me. Okay, well, let's move on to the Q&A part. These are some of the questions that you guys have asked on Twitter and Facebook, and I'll try to get to them and answer as many of them as I can. So Phantom Boy said, hey, do you guys have any more ideas for merchandise to inhabit the reward store? Basically, I think he's talking about the abilities and the new abilities that are coming out. I think we definitely want to add a lot more abilities, and I think with abilities, we're not looking to do things like a lot of people are fearing that might make your character jump higher, for example, or run faster. I don't think that's the direction we're going. I think we're going to make things that have different effects or different statuses or different cool things that you can do within the world. But yeah, we've talked, definitely brainstormed a lot, and there were a lot that got let on the cutting room floor when we came out with this initial update 15 that I'd like to see back in the game. Yeah, I mean, people threw out quite a few crazy ideas back then, but we'll see. There's all sorts of different things we'd like to add in, and I think throughout the year you're going to see a lot of new perks added in. So you might want to make a decision. Do you want to spin your Stratos now, or do you want to wait and save up a few to see when the next updates are out, so you can add those to your collection. But that's all part of it, and eventually, we'll raise the level cap as people move up. I think I saw someone was at level 25 today, so that's halfway to the level 50 cap. So people are definitely moving their way up there, which is kind of cool to see. But yeah, we'll be having a lot more of those perks and abilities type things in the future. All right, so next, Damon, my partner in crime with designing, says, any news on the power-up that lets you jump in mid-air? Is it untested? Is it a cheat? Are there reasons for the delay? So Damon was asking, this was previewed in a video recently, or a while back actually, before the camera system, where I had a player that touched a mysterious-looking power-up and it allowed him to jump several times in mid-air. This is another one of those things like the kill blocks that I was talking about earlier that is caught somewhere in development. I've seen the ticket. In fact, I assigned the ticket initially to put it together, and I don't know why it hasn't been added into the game yet. It looked like it was working just fine for me, but we'll have to do a little more testing to make sure that it's working okay. I know there's some things like glass blocks and ice blocks that there's a functional version of them in our development version, but there's a lot of issues and glitches with them. So there's stuff like that that might take a little bit longer to get out. But as far as I can see, the jump power up is ready to go, and that'd be a really cool addition to add into the game. I think people would do a lot of really cool things with that in their levels. That's a really cool gameplay changing power up. So hopefully we'll get that out soon. Roberto says, will we ever be able to put in multiple blocks or platforms in the same grid space? It's impossible to make small complex structures. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to do this as well, and I think what we'd have to do in this sort of scenario is maybe have a custom tool that allows you to create your own polygons by basically dragging them out and creating moving up and down the floors, or dragging it across the horizontal grid and then being able to pick a texture for it or something like that. Something along those lines, because right now the way that Atmosphir is set up really depends on this grid system, and to make changes like that would be something that could be kind of difficult. So, and require us to go back and change quite a few things. So, more realistically, would be some sort of new tool or new way to add a block into the game that would allow you to do that sort of thing. But also, when you make something smaller, obviously we would want to not make it so processor intensive. If you have a lot of polygons down there, the game is going to start running really, really slow. So we'd have to figure out ways to make the level of detail really, smaller, so a level would run faster. But we'll look into that. I know you guys have been asking for that sort of thing for a while. And on the other end of the spectrum, you asked for the ability to scale things a lot bigger, and we've given you that option with several of the blocks in there, and we'll hopefully be continuing that in the future of the game as well. Wow Fun Happy asks, any chance of being able to disable abilities as a club-only or otherwise paid feature? This is something that Wow Fun Happy brought up in the thread that I was talking about earlier about update 15-1 and the taking away the XP abilities penalty and sort of options to that. And Wow Fun Happy was one of the more vocal opponents of what we did essentially, or I should say, wanting to give designers more control and the option to be able to work around abilities or deal with abilities. And so one of the things that he suggested, if I read the thread correctly, was saying, hey, I would be willing to pay $50 to disable abilities in my level. If it's in terms of money, then this is something I'd be willing to do. And, up until this point, we haven't charged designers for anything, pretty much. I think most, club and all that stuff is really focused around the players, and it's not like we have any paid blocks so far. Maybe when NPCs come out and you can, customize your NPCs, that'll be a different story. But so far, we've primarily been focused, our revenue model has been focused around the players. So I really don't know if that is something that we would we would do, particularly $50. That's nice to hear that's something you value so much that you'd be willing to do that. But I think we can find other ways around it and other ideas to do things. And someone suggested maybe it's a club only feature, or maybe it's something that a pro designer distinction would allow you to do. That would be only given to a select number of designers who have X number of levels of the day or XP levels or that sort of thing. But we'll think about it. We'll try to figure something out. And I appreciate you putting your opinion out there and saying this is something that you truly value and want to see in the game, some sort of control like that, so you can continue to design the levels that are in your head. So hopefully we'll be able to continue that and please you in the future. Kyle Wardwell is asking status of ability-based triggers and or adoption of them. This is sort of going along the same thing we were talking about earlier, talking about the ability for designers to have triggers that could be based around abilities or shut off certain abilities or allow certain abilities to have some sort of thing in them. But it's the basic idea is that we're, this is still a work in progress. We're still thinking about them. We're still talking about them. And we really haven't even decided how exactly this is going to work. So there's not even a ticket in the system right now to say ability-based triggers, is something we're working on. It's more at the discussion level right now and brainstorming level. But again, we appreciated all your feedback within the threads and the forums. So that was really cool to see. Atmos Turkey says, will any other new things be coming along with the desktop version? Like, will it just be a part of update 16, or will it be its own update? I think there'll certainly be things. We're always working on stuff, so I think there will be some new stuff that'll be added in with the desktop version, I'm sure. I don't know if it'll be new blocks, new player content. I'm not 100% sure. It depends on when exactly it comes out. But I don't think it's going to be a full update. I don't think it's going to be something like, here's all these feature pack things, or here's, this whole new feature that NPCs or something like that we've added. I think so much of our focus recently has been on getting the desktop version right and getting it out there. And, again, I think we're in line to hopefully get that out in the next few weeks. That is the current plan, but, I would not expect it to be, to have all these different things in it that are totally game changing and different from the current version of the game. We've been sort of just continually iterating upon what we've got and trying to make it better and better. Thomas Moody says, what games are you playing at the moment in your own time? Well, unfortunately, there hasn't really been too much of my own time to do this sort of thing. Between this and having a life outside of work as well. But I recently picked up the game Darksiders, actually, on sale for like $15 for Xbox 360, and because I heard it was sort of a darker version of The Legend of Zelda, and so far I really like it. I haven't gotten too far in it, maybe 3 or 4 hours, but it was on a lot of people's best top 10 list games for last year, and so I wanted to make sure to check it out, and particularly at that price, I felt like it was something that I could just sort of grab and play, later at night or something like that, or after work. And so far I think it's been pretty cool, and I'm already seeing some things that I think would be cool ideas to add into Atmosphir, and some really cool things that they do very well. So it's a cool story, it's a cool characters, and definitely a fun game. So I'm looking forward to playing more of that whenever I have time. It's probably going to take me another year or so to beat, but we'll see how it goes. So. Nasmus1992 says, should we expect a new trailer released with the desktop version? Yes, you should. I've been working on that, sort of putting together a little bit of gameplay footage here and there. But yes, there should definitely be a new trailer with the desktop version. And hopefully, if I have time for it, a few other videos, tutorials and things like that might come out as well. But we'll see how it goes. And the last question today comes to us from Bartman64, who says, after the desktop version, what is the next project? And to Dave, what are your daily tasks? So first part, after the desktop version, what's the next project? We're still working on figuring that out. Right now, there's sort of a lot of different tickets and a lot of big ideas that we have and want to put together. But in terms of the next big update, we haven't announced that yet, exactly what will be released. We're working on a bunch of different things, and it's just a matter of figuring out which ones that are good enough state that we can get it out there. Most likely, I think some of you saw on Facebook's Facebook this week that I mentioned that I'm going to be going back down to Buenos Aires in early February to meet with Martin and the team and sort of talk things over. And I think that's pretty much where we're going to plan the rest of 2011 and what we really wanted to add into the game and things we want to really set our sights for. And a lot of that has been based off of your guys' feedback, of course, the things that you want to see and have been asking for a long time. So hopefully we'll get that all settled and I can have a clearer idea of what to tell you what to expect in the near future. If you notice, I haven't been giving out too many deadlines recently, simply because we have such a bad track record of keeping with those deadlines. So I've been saying sort of some vague dates every once in a while, and hopefully we'll get better at doing that in the future. But for now, I'm just saying we have a lot of things we're working on, and I would expect a new, bigger update in February or sometime around that that will have new blocks and new content and some new gameplay stuff. But as far as specific dates, I can't say that right now. And the second part of that question, Dave, what are your daily tasks? It's weird. I mean, my job just changes every day. There's all sorts of different things that I have to deal with. I help out with customer support stuff. I will do a lot of community stuff with the forums and the contests and talking to the moderators and level of the day, editorial staff, QA staff, that sort of thing, playing levels, doing sort of filling in that role. And a lot of GUI type things, a lot of design stuff. With the website and the game, there's a lot of buttons and dialogues and screens and things that we have to put the pieces together. So what I'll do is usually make one of those in Adobe Illustrator or Photoshop and then slice it up and give all the the pieces of it. So this is what the rollover state looks like. This is what the text is, the font size. These are the colors, that sort of thing. And then I'll document it on our intranet site where we sort of have this internal site where we keep all our files and everything. And I will lay it out for people and for the development team basically to take those pieces and programming them into the actual game. So a lot of my job revolves around that. A lot of needs coming up every day basically. Hey Dave, we need this button in blue and orange. Can you get it for us? This new screen, we need it right away or we can't release this update, that sort of stuff. And so there's a lot of that. And then there's a lot of brainstorming stuff too, sort of thinking about the next steps and talking to the team about, ideas for new things that we want to add into the game. So, there's always that sort of more creative, fun aspect as well. But any given day is different. Honestly, there's a lot of different things that I have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And, it's always varied and it's always keeps me on my toes and keeps things exciting. So. All right, so that's the end of today's episode. Thanks, guys, so much for listening, and stay tuned to atmosphere.com for all the latest news and updates. We'll have some more info this week on, again, one of the new Make Your Own contests, and I think the Mini 11 contest is ending this week as well, and then we'll be moving forward with some more news about the desktop version, hopefully, and all sorts of other things. So keep your eyes open and for that, and make sure to subscribe to us on Facebook and Twitter for all the latest updates and news with Atmosphere. But until then, thanks guys so much for listening, and take care. Bye.